Hello fellas and fellahers and welcome to my newest review. Now I'm sure most of you know of the Borderlands franchise, from my first video on the pre-sequel to the masterpiece that is the second instalment. Despite everyone universally agreeing that 2 is the best, Gearbox and 2K made the third in 2019 and no one really brings it up in the best in the series conversation. So in this video me and my sister are going to look into why the game faltered and why exactly it's often overshadowed by the previous entries in the series. So, let's begin. So to start, I'm just going to say the game looks really good. Like you can tell it's the latest entry just by presentation alone. The area designs look really nice and even the character designs are quite solid. So in terms of graphics, it's a plus for me. All the playable characters look distinct and are easily recognisable even in their default variations.
Character skins and head customisations return in this game, and they are far more in depth compared to the previous entries. This is because you can now change the individual colours of each skin. So if you like the pattern of a certain skin but don't like the colour, the game's got you covered. Do you want to glow in the dark and stick out like a sore thumb? Well, now you can make killing into the ultimate fashion statement.
Now onto the gameplay aspect, and in this one the gameplay is absolutely brilliant. Guns feel amazing to use, and in this one they've added numerous reasons to experiment and try different guns, as some guns have alternative firing modes like a grenade launcher or even a taser, or with some you can have guns that apply a shield when aimed down sights. And guns are everywhere. Many times I've found myself changing weapons just to see how they work and how fun they are. So from a gun point of view, they've done really well to make players want to try different guns. Most of the guns feel really good to use too. For example, in Borderlands 2 I never used Dahl, because I just didn't feel the guns in the game lived up to the other manufacturers. But in Borderlands 3, Dahl weapons feel really tactical and efficient, so whenever I saw one I rushed to get it. The game itself feels so much more fast paced and it is a joy to play. Whenever you're in a firefight, you seem to always be actively doing something, if that makes sense. It's never a dull moment.
A new feature in this game is the ability to customise weapons. You can apply a nice skin or a cute little charm on your gun, which adds more personalisation to your inventory. Most of the skins are very stylish, flamboyant, and then there's poop. Literal poop.
Another small thing they added in this game was the ability to slide, which makes traversing the landscape so much more fun as you just feel like an action hero sliding and blasting enemies around. Speaking of which, the game has ragdoll physics, and as you all know, that's always a plus to me. Just seeing enemies do backflips because I've shotgunned them makes no sense and all the sense at the same time. Of course, legendaries return in this game, and they've done an amazing thing by having a sound cue to them when they drop. And also they have a huge orange light so you can see them. Better yet, even if you still miss the drop, the game marks the legendary on your minimap, which makes looking for legendary way easier.
In terms of looking for legendaries, in the event a legendary falls into an area you can't go to, you can always go back to Sanctuary and check the machine on your right, which will drop any guns of interest you've missed previously. Legendaries in this game actually feel like legendaries, whether it be from the power of them or the weird quirk the gun itself has. Speaking of pure power, let's talk about the Hellwalker. The gun itself is a reference to Doom. From the reference alone, you just know this gun is going to be demonic in power. Hell, even when you equip the gun, it hypes you up with a sick-ass guitar riff. When we found the gun for the first time in a vending machine, we were level 12. Can you guess how far that gun carried me? Over 15 bloody levels. The gun itself is that cracked, considering every time you shoot, you hear a guitar sound, and it shoots pentagrams. You best believe we farmed for this gun again at the nearest opportunity. This gun did more damage at level 12 than any other on-level legendaries at the time. It felt like having the power of God in my hands.
Character builds in this game are the most in-depth in the series, as in every tree has its own action skill variant, and within each tree there's small branch skills that augments your action skill, and there's many of them, and you can equip more than one, which makes experimentation way better as there's way more options at your disposal. And with the Designer's Cut DLC, each character gets another skill tree with even more skills and action skill changes, which in itself provides so much more to the game in my opinion. So in terms of building characters, this is a major step in the right direction.
My favourite character to play is Amara, the Siren. I really like her personality and her abilities are really fun to play around with. Do you want to suspend enemies in the air similar to Maya? Or do you want to slam dunk on your enemies? Either skill is available at any time, so you're free to choose and try out from level 2. When I was playing, I started using the Phase Cast ability, where Amara sends a blue projectile towards enemies which does a lot of damage. I then added the singularity effect, so whenever I hit an enemy, everyone around him just ragdolled everywhere, which led to a lot of funny moments as we would witness grown-ass men turn into noodles a lot of the time.
In each of the play areas they have their own collectibles and their own unique creature to gun down, which is another good step, as when you fully collect or defeat all collectibles you get emails that give you even more items. Adding more side objectives is a great incentive as you actually want to explore the maps, as the rewards by doing this is always in your best interest. Despite the gameplay and gunplay being amazing, there are a few issues. Firstly, me and my sister found so many legendaries in the first playthrough, we collected like 12 before we even turned level 10, which is fine on its own, but when you obtain a broken gun from the first play area, it sort of trivialises the rest of the game. For example, in older games when you saw a legendary you were like, oh shit, a legendary, let's go. But in this one, you're more surprised when the legendary doesn't drop. Borderlands has always been a game of farming the best loot. It's kinda hard to farm and bosses can drop numerous legendaries at once. I don't know, to me it just seemed very easy to have a full inventory of legendaries when compared to earlier games it took a long ass time, and you had to pursue to get your character to that point. Another negative aspect of the gameplay is that loading screens take a while. When you compare them to previous entries, you'll be memorising the fucking hints. The loading screen is so long sometimes. And don't get me started on the loading screen before you even start the game. I saw Claptrap pass the screen so many times I wanted to pass the fuck away. It just got a bit ridiculous when in previous entries it wasn't such a massive issue.
Playing on split screen makes this game run way worse. You have a lot of slowdown and often on the bottom screen you have weird black marks that I can't really explain. Many times when a player is doing something, the game itself slows down for seemingly no reason. Also, the game crashed at many points, which wouldn't be as bad, but every time you reload the game, you gotta go through all the loading again, which is kind of ridiculous as we spent most of the game time waiting for the game to respond and load up. Speaking of loading, many times when waiting to load into the game, many of the hints overlapped and after a few seconds the hints were unreadable.
One of the biggest positive aspects of Borderlands 2 was its villain. Handsome Jack is universally loved for his snarky remarks, ominous presence and overall memorability. So, how does Borderlands 3 fare with its villain? Poorly. In this game you have the Calypso twins, villains that are literally named after a fucking beverage.
I've just started this Calypso. It is fucking minging.
Troy and Tyrene could have been a good set of villains, with a better story, which is a can of worms I'll open later. But these two are more annoying than threatening, which is fine if the game didn't try to make them both annoying and threatening at the same time. Every time they talked or appeared, I always expected a cringy meme or just ear-grinding dialogue. In this game, you're literally up against social media influencers, which in hindsight is hilarious, sure, but compared to Handsome Jack, they're just not threatening.
With the TikTok twins, I mean Calypso, I think TikTok twins suits them a lot better. When Tyrene is taunting you throughout the game, it just doesn't land. As Handsome Jack literally named a diamond pony butt stallion in honour of the player. In this game, her worst insult is she just calls you a gun slut. You can see the difference as Jack was way more charismatic and had a stronger presence, and he didn't even need to be a siren to come across as powerful. Whereas in this game, Tyrene's presence is like a fly that just keeps buzzing in your ears.
And here we come to the main aspect as to why this game faltered. Its story and character development are so ridiculously bad, and the decisions the characters make are absolutely rage-inducing. Don't believe me? Well, let me explain to you one of the worst new characters introduced in this game ever. Now, if you've played this game before, you'll know exactly why she ruins the entire game experience. Let's start off with her actual character. She's basically a stowaway thief that has to steal to survive most of her life, which for a backstory isn't bad. But when you meet her, she's an entitled piece of shit who expects her dreams to come to her. She wants to be a vault hunter, and Maya, the second game siren, takes her under her wing. We like Maya. She's a cool, calm character who, for a mentor, makes sense. But what doesn't make sense is her insistence that she's going to be a siren, which is a flaw I'm going to go into later. Anyways, the players take Ava and Maya along for the ride. Maya insists she isn't ready for vaults and adventures, especially when you find the first vault and fight the Rampager. As the boss is defeated, Ava appears like a mosquito. You don't want her there, and if you could shoot her, you would. After looting the vault comes the absolute worst cutscene in the series.
We're leaving. Now.
We should be kicking their asses.
So who's the brat? You I get, but what's her deal? She's no one. I'm your problem.
I'm gonna be a siren, and then I'm gonna mop the floor with assholes like you.
You're gonna... Is that how you think this works? Honey, you're not even gonna leave this place.
Put her down. That's what I thought.
Maya!
Ava, don't! Be ready.
After this abomination, you all go back to the ship and have a short funeral for Maya. Here's another cutscene showing Ava's flaws.
Maya wasn't just a Crimson Raider or a Vault Hunter. She was family. But we can't lose sight of our mission. We're going to open the vaults. That's how we make her death mean anything. Everyone, back to your stations.
Open the vaults? That's all you have to say. Maya's dead because you wanted to open the vaults. We should be hunting down the Calypsos and making them pay for what they did.
It's not that easy.
Maya always told me the Vault Hunter runs toward the fire. All her stories were about you. You saved Pandora. You killed Handsome Jack. You're supposed to be the Firehawk.
I don't know what I am.
Figure it out, Lilith, before you get someone else killed.
As you can see, at this point, Ava is the stupidest person on the ship, and if there was a side mission to throw her overboard, I'd fucking speedrun it. That being said, now's the time to fully rant about why this character ruins the game. So apologies folks, but it has to be said. So where do I even start? Any scene she's in makes it infinitely worse. She constantly goes against anyone's advice, and when it blows up in anyone's face, she blames anyone else but herself. She is constantly cringy, and when she speaks, I want to curl up and cry. But wait, there's more. Despite her being a teenage dirtbag, she never learns any lessons or even rightfully blames herself for being reckless and getting people she cares about fucking killed. In the end, she becomes a siren and becomes the owner of Sanctuary. What? Since when did the most battle-experienced siren, aka Lilith, think giving a teenage girl the home base of the Crimson Raiders, aka an army, would be a good idea? This wouldn't be so bad if she learned anything or even fucking developed. In the Director's Cut DLC, you can see that they cut Maya's funeral, which had Ava actually feeling remorse and guilt and not wanting to repeat that mistake again. You know, character development. But instead, we got a whiny moron who in the end gets everything she wanted. Why? Her advice literally gets 2 characters killed off. She inadvertently kills more main characters than the fucking villains do.
Now, out of any character I've ever experienced, there's no one else that makes me boil with rage more than Ava does. Every time I see this stupid little banshee, I have the attempt to trigger trypophobia because she just ruins every scene she's involved in. Her only benefit to being alive is her little pet that you have the option of petting. Like, come on, look at it. I must have petted this fennec fox looking thing for a good 5 minutes. Doing so will actually give you ammo. Why is her little rodent friend more useful than her? Riddle me that. Petting a virtual creature was way more enjoyable than listening to Ava's bitching.
It's just very aggravating as you can see how the story should have planned out. The biggest missed opportunity is with Troy. Throughout the game he's always seen a second fiddle and Tyrine's lackey. Which makes sense, she's got the power and he's just there. But when he takes Maya's powers, he gets more confident and often does things on his own accord. Which, as a player, you can potentially assume he's going to try overthrow Tyrene and become the God King. Now that would have added some depth to the villains and made a pretty good twist. But no, that doesn't happen, you just get teased and no payoff. Hell, even in Troy's boss fight, you can hear Tyrene saying he's going to kill it if he doesn't stop. Imagine if the game twisted the narrative and made Troy kill Tyrene for more power. It'd make sense because the game is constantly building it up, but it didn't go anywhere and I don't understand why I'd bother making that tension in the first place.
In regards to Troy, I liked him more due to his potential and the fact that his voice actor is the same as one of my comfort characters, Arataki Ito, the lovable dumbass in his own regard. So whenever I hear his voice, I can't unhear the Oni Himbo. If you know, you know. It sparked me with joy enjoy hearing the voice actor, and it gave a nice break from the more annoying characters. It just sucks how they did nothing with the character, as I know the talent behind the actor was completely wasted.
The story's main motif is about family and how power can affect family ties, which in itself is a great story to tell, but the characters within this game cannot deliver a good story or message about it. There's other plot points I'm not a fan of either, like Tannis being a siren, which makes me angry because it's a power that could have been an amazing playable skill. But no, Tannis is just casually a siren now. There's billions of people on different planets and the 2 siren powers are passed on to 2 people within your army. Am I missing something? Shouldn't that be like extremely unlikely? I get it, going over plot holes in a game where you can shoot burgers at people and give guns legs might be stupid on my part. But when the story is being 100% serious and then just kills off main characters for the worst new alternative just boils my piss. I think the only new character I enjoyed was Wainwright Jacobs. He had the best dialogue and is in the relationship with Hammerlock. So, he represents the LGBT community and is a fun character to be around, so it's a double win. So, it is possible to have fan favourites and newcomers together without killing them off needlessly.
Wainwright Jacobs has by far the most iconic lines in this game, and his insult game is on point. Many times we interacted with him, we were laughing so hard at his insults towards Troy in particular.
But I'm not one of them. No, not anymore. I'm done getting table scraps.
Fill your hands, you zealot scum!
Huh? Oh, I'ma kill you!
Come and get me, you rat-faced bastard! Say, rat boy, aren't you the one who has to suck at your sister's teat for sustenance? Die in a gutter!
Speaking of fan favourites, it's very disappointing that most of the previous playable characters don't appear in the main story, or don't even do anything. Mordecai, the trick shot sniper, would have been helpful in any of the story. Or how about Salvador? You know, the gun-toting tank who can one-shot everything in the previous game? Nah, we don't need them. Have him be a commentator for a DLC. Huh? So you're telling me that the other Vault Hunters are seeing the twins try to take over the universe and don't get into the fight and help? What? The only character done justice in this game is Zero. He's still cool as ever and is actually memorable. From a story standpoint, you have 2 social media stars turned dictators trying to run the entire galaxy, and you're telling me none of the previous characters help in any meaningful way? In fact, Roland has a bigger in-game presence in this game, and he's in the fucking ground. Going back to the story again, wanna know my favourite quest in this game? It's not the one where Ava's diary is read and she's upset surprisingly. It's when Claptrap gives you a quest to answer an ad saying someone wants a dance partner. You find a woman and you find out she's wheelchair bound and is disheartened because she doesn't think she can dance anymore. But Claptrap insists and they dance together and become good friends. That one quest is so memorable as it's so heartwarming. It's the sole quest I remembered from this game, and it's proof that the devs can make a story. It's proof the writers aren't stupid. So it just makes the main story look so bad when a simple side quest overshadows it.
My favourite quest has to be the homeopathological quest, mainly because we had the ability to paint on the wall. And as you can see, we are very mature and didn't paint anything rude. Totally not.
This game is amazing to play. The gunplay and character building is the best in the series, but the story is so bad. And it's a shame, as a few tweaks would have made this game the best in the series. They made Ava worse than the villains. That speaks volumes when you consider what she witnesses in the game. At the credits, you just wonder what the actual fuck happened with the franchise. The game is an A+ in terms of gameplay. It's hard to fault how much progress this game made to the Borderlands formula. Playing the game without the story is really fun. Loads of collectibles and experimenting to be done, but adding the main story with it makes the game suffer hard. I get it, gameplay over plot is a good thing, and I never expected a Shakespeare-like story, but I did expect it to make sense, or expect it not to physically hurt me listening or witnessing it. You have awful characters that are the focus and have better characters who have untapped potential. It's just mind-boggling to me.
The characters are so bad, it makes me hope in the next game that Ava is the villain. Due to her attitude and ability to kill off better characters with ease, it just makes sense for us to turn her into fertilizer. And for a character we're supposed to root for, it's not a good look. This is why character development exists and is very important for any character.
If you want to play this game, I would recommend it, but in terms of the main plot, just turn your brain off or just mute the dialogue. Use the cutscenes as toilet breaks and you'll think this game is the greatest of all time. I don't hate this game, far from it. It's because it was so close to perfect for me and it just got ruined by the story. Anyways, I think that's enough. Thank you for watching this far and let me know your opinions in the comments. Make sure you like and subscribe and I'll see you all in the next video. Ciao for now.
Ugh, these films are just terrible. Oh, hi, Vault Hunter.